You ever had a door close so loud it echoed in your spirit, the kind that makes you question everything you thought you knew about purpose, timing, even yourself? See, you missed your moment. Times the sound of a door closing can shake your confidence so deeply that you start believing maybe you missed your moment. Maybe you messed up. Maybe you weren't enough. But let me tell you something, closed doors are not God's way of rejecting you. They are His way of redirecting you. Every no that felt personal, every opportunity that slipped away, every prayer that seemed unanswered, it was never meant to destroy your hope. It was meant to deepen your discernment, because here's the truth: when God closes a door, He's not trying to punish you. He's trying to position you. Sometimes we get so comfortable knocking on the wrong doors that we forget. Just because it looks good doesn't mean it's God. You thought that job was your breakthrough. You thought that relationship was your forever. You thought that platform was your calling, but maybe, just maybe, that was the wrong door dressed in temporary excitement. God knew that if He let you walk through it, you would have settled for less than you were created for. We get frustrated when doors don't open on our timeline. But what if the delay is the very thing protecting your destiny? You see, closed doors often carry the fingerprints of grace. They guard you from places your gift might have taken you before your character was ready to sustain you. Because an open door before preparation can become a trap disguised as a blessing. Sometimes God says not now, because He's still working in you before He works through you. And I know that hurts, because we don't talk enough about the pain of divine protection. We glamorize the breakthrough, but we don't always acknowledge the heartbreak that comes before it. We cry, we question, we wonder why everyone else's doors seem to swing open while ours stay locked. But what if that locked door is the only thing keeping you from walking into a room that would have drained your peace, your joy, your purpose? There's a version of you that can't survive in every room, and sometimes God closes the door not because He's withholding something from you, but because He's saving something within you. Maybe He's saving your identity from being swallowed by comparison. Maybe He's saving your voice from being silenced by compromise. Maybe He's saving your soul from being lost in the applause of people who only love you when you're performing. That closed door isn't rejection, it's preservation. I remember seasons when I begged God to open doors that I thought were my destiny. I cried over opportunities that never called back. I questioned why the relationships I prayed for fell apart before they even began. And now, looking back, I can only thank God for every one of those no's, because if He had said yes to what I wanted, I wouldn't be standing in what I needed. What I thought was a loss turned out to be a lesson. What I thought was a detour turned out to be direction. Sometimes the greatest blessing isn't the door that opens, it's the one that closes right before you walk through it. That's the one that forces you to pause, to breathe, to listen. That's the one that makes you look inward and ask, God, what are you trying to show me here? Closed doors create space for revelation. They strip away the noise of constant motion and make room for divine whispers. Profound SEN, it's in that SE of CURI, quiet OSITY about the PESES. When you feel stuck, unseen, uncertain, that God starts to shape your faith. You may not realize it, but that closed door is a conversation between heaven and your purpose. It's heaven saying, I'm not done writing your story yet. It's heaven saying, you're thinking in rooms, but I'm thinking in kingdoms. It's heaven saying, if I let you settle here, you'll never discover what I planted in you. So don't curse the door that closed, celebrate it, because it means something better is being built beyond what you can see. But let's be real, faith doesn't always feel that poetic. Sometimes faith feels like tears on your pillow. Sometimes faith feels like disappointment you have to disguise. Sometimes faith feels like silence from a God you can't stop trusting. But even in that silence, He's speaking. Even when it looks like nothing's moving, something is shifting. Closed doors don't mean God has left the building. They mean He's rearranging the architecture of your destiny. Maybe the reason the door hasn't opened yet is because the version of you that's standing there isn't the one meant to walk through it. Maybe you're still being refined in the waiting. Maybe he's building strength in your spirit, confidence in your voice, endurance in your faith. Because when that new door opens, you won't walk in timid, you'll walk in transformed. And let me tell you, when it's your time, no door can stay closed. When God says go, the locks will fall off, the hinges will loosen, and the opportunity that once ignored you will start looking for you. That's how divine timing works. It doesn't rush, it reveals. So this November, if you're standing in front of something that won't open, take a step back. Don't bang on it until your knuckles bleed. Don't beg for what's not meant to be yours. Instead, lift your hands, wipe your tears, and whisper, God, if this door is closed, I trust you've already prepared another one that fits me better. Because the door that's meant for you will not require you to shrink to enter. It will open because you finally grew into who you were called to be. Closed doors don't define your destiny, they direct it. Every time one shuts, it pushes you closer to alignment, closer to clarity, closer to becoming who you truly are. So stop mourning over the door that closed and start preparing for the one that's about to swing wide open. Because every closed door opens when you realize it was never about the door. It was always about your development. You know, sometimes God hides you on purpose. He doesn't do it to punish you, but to prepare you. There are seasons when it feels like you're invisible, like no one sees your effort, your heart, your faithfulness. You're showing up, you're praying, you're serving, and yet it seems like nothing's moving. You're in the background, waiting for a breakthrough that doesn't seem to come. But what if that hidden place isn't punishment, it's holy? What if the season where you feel unseen is the season where heaven is watching the closest? See, we live in a world that glorifies being seen. Everyone wants to be visible, validated, celebrated. But visibility without preparation is dangerous. God knows that exposure too early can destroy what he's still shaping. And sometimes, before he can trust you in the spotlight, he has to test you in the shadows. The hidden season is not wasted, it's sacred. It's the classroom of destiny. In that quiet place where no one's clapping and no one's calling your name, God is doing his deepest work. He's refining your motives, stretching your faith, and building your roots, because what's rooted in private can't be shaken in public. You're asking for a platform, but God is building your foundation. You're asking for increase, but he's teaching you how to carry it. You're asking for more, but he's showing you how to steward what you already have. And that's not easy. Because the hidden place doesn't come with applause, it comes with pressure, it comes with silence, it comes with the kind of faith that doesn't have proof yet. But in that silence, God is speaking. In that pressure, he's producing something inside you that can't be manufactured in the spotlight. There's an anointing that's born only in obscurity. You can't rush that. You can't skip that. You can't Instagram that. Some of you are frustrated because you feel like God forgot your address. You've been faithful, you've been patient, and yet you're still behind closed doors. But let me tell you, God hasn't forgotten you. He's hiding you, and there's a difference. Being forgotten means no one's thinking about you. Being hidden means you're being protected for a specific time and purpose. You're not late, you're being preserved. Think about David. Before he ever held a crown, he held a sling in the field. Before anyone called him king, he was just a shepherd boy singing songs to sheep. Nobody saw him, nobody celebrated him, but that's where God trained him. That's where he learned how to fight battles that others ran from. The oil was already on him before the throne ever found him, because the field prepared him for the fight. The hidden place prepared him for the open door. You see, there's a power that comes from being faithful in the unseen. When you can worship in the wilderness, when you can serve without recognition, when you can stay consistent even when nobody's watching, that's when heaven takes notice. Because your hidden obedience carries heavenly weight. The people who only show up when there's a stage will never understand the strength of the ones who stayed when no one was clapping. It's easy to praise when everything's visible. It's easy to believe when the blessings are public. But can you trust God when nothing looks like it's working? Can you stay committed when it feels like you're sowing seeds that never sprout? That's what separates the called from the chosen. The called get excited by the door, the chosen get anchored in the process. You may feel like you're losing time, but God's timing doesn't operate like ours. He's not delaying you. He's developing you. Every hidden moment is preparation for a revealed purpose. Every unnoticed effort is a seed planted for a harvest you can't yet see. God hides those he intends to highlight later. He shields you from exposure until you're strong enough to handle it. Because if you're revealed too soon, you'll confuse attention with anointing. And some of us, if we're honest, have tried to rush out of our hidden seasons. We've tried to make doors open through force instead of faith. We've tried to validate ourselves through performance instead of peace. But rushing the process will only delay the promise. You can't microwave what God is trying to marinate. The longer it takes, the richer it becomes. Don't resent your hidden season, respect it. Because one day, you'll look back and realize that was where your foundation of faith was formed. It's in the hidden place where you learn to hear God clearly. When the crowd fades, when the applause dies down, when it's just you and him, that's when intimacy grows. That's when revelation comes. That's when you learn to recognize his whisper in the noise of the world. And let me tell you, when you come out of that place, you don't just come out strong, you come out sure. Sure of who you are, sure of what you carry, sure of who sent you. Because when you've been trained in the dark, no light can blind you. When you've been validated by God, no human rejection can shake you. When you've learned to serve without a stage, no stage can seduce you. The hidden place builds humility, and humility keeps you anchored when the doors finally open. God can trust the hidden ones because they've learned to trust him in the silence. So if you're in a season right now where it feels like nothing is happening, don't lose hope. You're not behind. You're not forgotten. You're becoming. You're in the holy tension between what was and what will be. The enemy wants you to believe that hidden means worthless. But God says hidden means worthy of preparation. Because when your time comes, and it will come, there will be no question about who opened that door. It won't be networking. It won't be connections. It won't be luck. It will be God. The doors that open too easily can also close easily. But the ones that open after a hidden season, those are the doors that stay open because they're grounded in purpose, not popularity. You don't have to fight for those doors. You don't have to manipulate your way through. They'll open because you're ready. So let this be your peace tonight. The hidden place is not a setback. It's a setup. You're not stuck. You're being shaped. You're not forgotten. You're being fortified. God is doing something so deep within you that when he finally brings you into the open, you'll carry a strength, a wisdom, a presence that can only be born in the quiet places. And when that moment comes, when the door swings open and the world finally sees what God's been building in secret, walk through it knowing you didn't miss anything. You were just in training for everything. You can feel it in the air when a new season is coming. The way the atmosphere shifts, the way your spirit starts to stir, the way certain things that used to fit don't fit anymore. It's like your soul knows something's changing before your eyes can see it. That's what this season, this November, feels like. It's the month where things that were once locked are about to open. The month where what felt like endings start to reveal themselves as beginnings. It's not just another page on the calendar. It's a prophetic turning point. You've cried through some hard seasons to get here. You've walked through doors that slammed shut in your face, carried dreams that seemed to die mid-journey, and survived moments that could have broken your spirit. But if you're listening close enough, you can sense that something is shifting. You're not in the same place you were. You may still be in process, but you're not who you used to be. This is the season where all that waiting starts to make sense. This November, doors are about to open, not because of luck, not because of coincidence, but because you're finally aligned with what you prayed for. There's a rhythm to how God moves. He lets us walk through the dark so we can recognize His light when it shows up. He allows the breaking so we can appreciate the blessing. The doors that are opening now aren't just random moments. They are responses to seeds sown in tears. They're answers to prayers whispered in faith when you didn't have the strength to shout. This month carries a divine energy of revelation, release, and renewal. The kind of energy that says, it's time. But here's the thing about open doors. They don't always look the way we imagined. Sometimes the door that opens doesn't take you straight to the platform you pictured. Sometimes it leads to another hallway. Another stretch of obedience, another moment to trust. Because God's openings aren't just opportunities, they're assignments. And when you step through them, you're not just walking into something new. You're stepping into something necessary. You've got to be ready to walk through doors that stretch you, the ones that make you grow, that challenge your comfort, that force you to rely on faith instead of familiarity. God is not interested in just giving you access. He's interested in giving you authority. And authority is built in the waiting, in the trusting, in the refusing to give up when it looked like nothing was happening. This November is a moment for those who didn't quit, for those who kept praying even when it felt pointless, for those who worshipped in the hallway when every door said closed, for those who stayed faithful when it would have been easier to walk away. This is the month where heaven starts honoring your endurance, where the favor that's been forming behind the scenes begins to manifest in front of your eyes. But be careful, because not every open door is yours to walk through. The enemy can open doors too. That's why discernment is key. Every opportunity isn't divine. Every invitation isn't alignment. You've got to ask yourself, is this door feeding my faith or distracting my destiny? Sometimes the door that's meant for you won't be the one that looks the easiest. It'll be the one that requires you to elevate. The one that forces you to grow beyond who you were last season. And when it opens, don't hesitate. Don't question whether you're worthy. Don't let fear make you miss your moment. You've been prepared for this. Every lonely night, every closed door, every lesson that felt like loss, it all led you here. This November is not about striving. It's about stepping. It's about finally walking into what God has been preparing while you were still waiting. You'll know it's your door because peace will meet you there. Not comfort, but peace. Peace that says, I may not know what's next, but I know I'm supposed to be here. When God opens the door, you won't have to force it, manipulate it, or beg for it to stay open. It will open naturally, like it was waiting for you all along. Because the door doesn't open when you're ready to move. It opens when you've become who you needed to be. Some of you have been standing in front of doors, knocking, praying, crying, wondering when they'll open. You've been faithful, you've been patient, but you're tired, and God is saying, I'm not late, I'm strategic. The delay wasn't denial, it was design. He had to make sure that when the door opened, you'd walk through with confidence, not desperation. That you'd carry authority, not anxiety. That you'd step in knowing you're called, not hoping you're qualified. So this November, lift your eyes, pay attention to what's shifting. Don't get so distracted by what closed that you miss what's opening. Don't let old disappointment blind you to new opportunity. The door you've been praying for may not look like what you expected, but it will lead to everything you were meant to become. You've endured the pruning, the pressure, and the preparation. Now comes the part where things start to unfold. And when they do, don't forget to give glory to the one who held you together while everything else was falling apart. Because the same God who allowed doors to close is the same one unlocking new ones in your favor right now. There's a divine acceleration happening this month. Places that once resisted you will start to receive you. People who once overlooked you will start to notice you. The very things that didn't work before will begin to align, not because you changed the plan, but because you stayed in position. November is the month where God redeems lost time, where He restores what you thought was gone, where He reminds you that His later is always better than your right now. So as the doors begin to open, walk through with gratitude, not ego, with humility, not haste. Remember, the goal isn't just to get through, it's to grow through. Every step you take through this next door carries the weight of your testimony, the strength of your patience, and the power of your perseverance. You didn't come this far just to stand outside wondering if you belong. You belong. The same faith that sustained you in the dark will guide you in the light. The same God who was with you when doors were closing is with you now as they begin to open. This is your time to move forward. This is your season to trust the unfolding, because this November isn't just another month. It's the moment everything starts to align with what heaven already declared over your life. And when that door opens, don't look back. Step through it like you were born for it. You ever notice how sometimes when your door finally opens, the first thing you do is look around to see who else got through theirs? We start comparing our timing, our blessings, our pace. It's almost instinctive, right? You prayed, you waited, you cried for that door to open, and when it finally does, the enemy whispers, but look at hers, look at his, look how much further along they are. Suddenly, what you once celebrated starts to feel small, but that's the trap, because comparison will always rob you of contentment. It'll take a divine moment and make you question whether you deserve it. When God opens a door for you, He's not asking you to compare. He's inviting you to come forth. He's saying, this one's yours. I designed it for your fingerprints, your voice, your story. You don't need to look left or right. You just need to walk straight ahead, because the moment you start comparing paths, you start losing power. See, your door has your name on it. It was carved out of your calling, and the worst thing you could do in this season is try to fit through a doorway that wasn't designed for you. Because when you chase someone else's assignment, you abandon your own anointing. Their timeline isn't yours. Their route isn't yours. You have no idea what it cost them to walk through that door, and they have no idea what it cost you to wait for yours. That's why God calls each of us individually, because the process that prepared you is as sacred as the promise that's waiting for you. There's something so beautiful about walking through your door with confidence, not arrogance, but confidence. The kind that comes from knowing who called you and what you carry. You've been through too much to second. Guess yourself now. You've cried too many nights to step into your blessing timidly. You've healed too deeply to start dimming your light again, just to make other people comfortable. This is not the season to shrink. It's the season to stand tall, but confidence doesn't mean you forget humility. It means you walk in gratitude and grace, because when God opens that door, it's not because you earned it, it's because He trusted you with it. He saw your consistency when no one else did. He watched you keep believing when everything said quit. He heard the prayers you whispered when you didn't even have the words to speak. And now that the door has opened, it's not your job to prove you belong. It's your job to walk like you do. And I know, sometimes stepping into new spaces feels intimidating. You start asking, why me? Am I really ready for this? But that's the beauty of faith. It doesn't wait until you feel ready. It asks you to move anyway, because God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. Every insecurity that tries to rise up in you right now is just a shadow of who you used to be. You're not her anymore. You're not him anymore. You've outgrown the fear that used to keep you on the sidelines. Walk through your door knowing you were built for this. Every struggle, every lesson, every setback has equipped you to stand where you're standing. You didn't stumble into purpose. You were shaped for it. And if you spend your energy trying to compare your chapter 10 to someone else's chapter 20, you'll miss the miracle that's happening in your own story. Sometimes we forget that our pace is part of our protection. If God had let you walk through that door when you wanted to, it might have destroyed you. But now you've got the maturity to handle it. You've got the discernment to sustain it. You've got the wisdom to see that just because someone else's door opened sooner doesn't mean yours was delayed. It MMZ was a NSYOUR delayed is divine. And when you finally step through, don't walk with apology. Don't walk like you're an intruder in your own destiny. Walk with assurance, walk with posture, walk like you know the God who opened it has already gone before you. Because He doesn't open doors halfway. When He opens it, He's already made room for you inside. You don't have to elbow your way in or compete for attention. You're not a guest. You're home, and while you're walking through that door, remember humility isn't about pretending you're small. It's about knowing your strength comes from something greater than you. It's about saying, I'm grateful, but I'm ready. It's about understanding that walking through your door doesn't make you better than anyone. It makes you obedient. There's a quiet confidence that comes when you finally understand that your lane is sacred, that you don't have to rush to keep up with anyone, that God's pace for you is perfect. When you stop comparing, you start creating. When you stop competing, you start completing what He called you to do. You don't need validation when you have vision. You don't need permission when you have purpose. The truth is, the comparison trap is subtle. It sneaks in the moment you start scrolling, the moment you start measuring, the moment you start wondering if you're enough. But let me tell you, if God put breath in your body and purpose in your soul, you're already enough. You don't need another degree, another follower, another cosign to qualify what He's already chosen. You're enough because He said so, and when you know that, you can celebrate other people's doors opening without feeling like it diminishes yours. Because what's for them can't cancel what's for you. Their blessing doesn't block yours. It confirms that God is still in the neighborhood. You can cheer for them because you're secure in what's coming for you. That's what maturity looks like: gratitude without comparison, joy without jealousy, movement without measurement. When God opens your door, it won't be about proving yourself. It'll be about pouring yourself. It'll be about showing up as your full, healed, whole self and doing what you were designed to do. You won't have to chase influence. Your authenticity will carry its own weight. You won't have to force connections. Your purpose will draw the right people. You won't have to explain why you're there. Your fruit will speak for itself. So when your door opens, walk through it knowing this. You don't owe anyone an explanation for the grace on your life. You don't have to minimize your light so others feel comfortable in their shadow. You don't have to keep apologizing for how far you've come. You're not lucky, you're chosen, you're not random. You're redeemed, you're not late, you're on time. And when you step into that next season, don't forget who you are and whose you are. Don't let success make you forget surrender. Don't let favor make you forget faithfulness. Stay grounded. Stay grateful, stay growing, because the same God who opened this door can open the next one. And He'll do it not because you forced it, but because you trusted Him with it. Walk through your door with your head held high, not in pride, but in peace. Peace that says, I may not have it all figured out, but I know who's leading me. Peace that says, I'm done comparing, I'm done shrinking, I'm done doubting. Because this time you're walking like you've already seen the promise. You're walking like you belong there. Walk through your door with confidence, not comparison.